everybody, welcome to our webinar. So today we're going to be talking about TyFlow and tyDiffusion. This is a rather new thing for a lot of us, and what is it? So why do we care, and should you be really talking, or should we be talking about it, or should we be pretending that it doesn't exist? To be honest, I think that this is one of those moments in our industry that we have to look into and really analyze it, because we're on a brim of something really exciting. So hello everybody, I can see that more and more of you are joining our stream. So hello FNA Design, Jay, Big Boss, and everybody who just said hello. So at the moment we're streaming on YouTube, but soon we're also going to be somewhere else. So I just wanted to default view full screen. So we're going to be starting with something that I am pretty excited about. So let's see how the TyDiffusion actually works, how they advertise themselves, and let me know in the chat if you can hear the video, or is it muted, or is it not. I hope that it's going to not be restricted, but well, let's give it a bit of a review. So first of all, you can see that this software is amazing. Why? Because, well, it's integrated into 3ds Max, and you can change your 3ds Max viewport into live canvas, and there are multiple different stable diffusion and comfy UI presets for you that will absolutely blow your mind. The best thing about it is you can prototype a lot of new ideas in the stable diffusion, but this is TyDiffusion, so we're obviously going to have a lot of emphasis on animation. We're not going to be touching upon animation today, because this is a topic that I really want to explore, create a tutorial for you, and we're going to have a little bit of extra fun with that. But today we're going to be talking about installation, how to get it, what is it, and really let's just try it out. So that is it for the introduction, and today we're going to be talking about it, but let's start fresh. So to start fresh, we need to go for TyDiffusion, and by default Google is going to be trying to correct you, because there's no TyDiffusion in this language. There's only diffusion, and we're not creating atomic bombs, so we're definitely going to be sticking to just the TyFlow documentation. But this also takes us nowhere, so where should you be going with that? Well, to the main website, but without the doc in the name. So we're going to go to tyflow.com to get our hands on the exact software. So a lot of questions on our Instagram were mostly about how do I get my hands on this? And it's super easy. You don't need any kind of account. You can just click on Get TyFlow, and there are a couple of options for you to choose from. Obviously, we're not going to be paying yet for this software because, well, not yet. But we're going to be going to downloads, and in this section we're actually going to go back to the documentation, but in reality we're here only for the TyFlow render, or really the TyDiffusion. The names vary depending on what you're going to be seeing over the internet. So click on this link, and please indicate that you accept. I just sold my soul, and let's make sure that we go to the folder where we're actually going to be having this webinar. So the installation process and downloading process is extremely easy. Hey Raymond, hello Herman, hello Sevan, hello Shimon. Nice to have you guys, and I'm really glad to see you all joining in. There's something wrong with my camera at the moment. I'm going to try to shift it slightly, and I hope that it's not going to break. Oh my god. Okay, so yeah, a little bit better, but now it's looking lower. Still perfection. Okay, so the download is done. We're going to go to the folder, and hey, hi from Chile, Andreas, nice to have you. So this is pretty much the thing you're going to be downloading. It's a very simple folder. It's a zip file, so you know that it's going to require unpacking. So if you're new to Windows, because a lot of people are, right click on it and extract. So if you don't have WinRAR, I recommend installing it. It's the best spyware ever. So let's extract files. Okay, I don't know if it's spyware or not. I just think that it is because, well, in my opinion, it should be at this point. So what we're going to see is a lot of DLO files. So it's super easy. TyFlow data files work with something. Okay, but where do we put that? Well, the thing is that we need to put it in 3ds Max because, well, the 3ds Max says so. So if I recall correctly, we're going to just take the file, drop it into a 3ds Max, and it's going to ask us to install. Or is it? Because I installed it a couple of days ago and now I'm a little bit silly. So let's go through the installation process and let's see TyFlow scenes. Okay, EULA, found here requirements. Oh my god, now I feel silly because I don't remember if I put it in plugins or not. I'm just going to check that. Hello from Dubai, I just been there. Nice place, nice place. Okay, so 3ds Max, let's go to plugins. Where's the plugins folder? Okay. And yeah, I might be wrong. We might be actually putting this into our folder. So we need to put it in the plugins. Yeah, I'm a silly boy. So we need to put it in and disregard what I said a minute ago. We're going to be putting it in 3ds Max 2024 files in plugins. It's just that I was exploring the software instead of exploring the installation for the second time. And now I've got an egg on my face. But it's quite simple to do. And I must say that I am not, let's say, the most advanced AI user, so I'm going to be exploring this with you, but once it's installed, it's actually super easy to work with. So let's take fresh 3ds Max, and this one can go away, so let's close it. Let's not save it because I'm going to be reopening the scene in a moment. So what you're going to see is now you're going to have the TyDiffusion in your viewport. So whichever viewport you're going to be selecting, that's what you're going to get. The first time when you click it, that's when it's going to ask you to install all bunch of stuff. So to save a little bit of time, because right now a lot of people are downloading the files, I've pre-installed it on my computer. But long story short, it's going to just ask you to install whatever you're missing. So in a couple of situations, and we have to get this out of the way. In a couple of situations, you're going to get this kind of error, but this is more like information for you. The information that you're going to be getting is that you're missing some of the files. Maybe you already answered this question, but I just got here. I have an older version installed. How do I install this update? Just go to the TyFlow website and download a new thing, put it on top of your currently existing files, and that's how you update. That's pretty simple. Now with that, we're going to get this prompt or some red markings that you're missing something. So the following models may be incompatible. So that means that in some cases, if you're going to take some, let's say, some kind of when you cross the model with a different sampler, in some cases you're going to have errors and some elements are not going to be working together. So it's very important to know that beforehand. But we pretty much have super simple situation here. So we've got Comfy UI, so one-click install, installation failed because I've already have it installed, so pretty much super easy. Models, right? So models, those are, let's call them the pre-trained brains, or let's say personalities of the AI. I know it doesn't have personality, at least yet, that you can use for your images. And there are plenty of amazing amazing models to pick and choose from. And as you can see, the downloading process may take a while because, as I said, a lot of people will be using those servers at the moment, so it is going to take a bit. Looks like a stable diffusion interface. It is stable diffusion. The TyFlow diffusion is actually stable diffusion, but in 3ds Max. So it's super cool because it's easy. So now we're downloading, and those models take a toll on your system in a sense that those are going to really cost you a couple of gigabytes. So make sure to have a little bit of space left on your drive. And right now I'm in the middle of a couple of projects, and I'm really running low on that part. I'm going to have to delete a couple of files soon. By the way, guys, make backups daily because that's going to be a problem at some point, or at least monthly. So display. So we're going to be exploring this UI really quickly because, well, all we need to know is that we can activate our TyDiffusion at any moment in 3ds Max. So first we're going to have the activate current viewport, deactivate, or deactivate all viewports, because you can activate it for each individual viewport separately, which is going to allow you to give yourself a little bit of a pat on the back because you created a couple of images independently. That's pretty cool. But if we just activate current viewport, you're going to see that first of all, the save frames are going to be activated. So it works in the viewport that you show, but it doesn't use the resolution you have input in your output size. So it's a very important thing to remember and be aware of, because whenever you're going to be trying to create something, your viewport is going to be in, let's say, proportions A, and your generation is going to be in the custom or the preset resolution that you're going to see in here. So regardless of my resolution, the resolution of the file that we're going to be creating is going to be based on this file. I mean this value. But before we really get into it, I need to make sure that we understand what we're dealing with. So as I said, the models are pretty much the personality, the type of imagery that we're going to be getting. And this is very important because you can upload your own models to Stable Diffusion if you're going to go to the right websites and you find the model that you like the most, because some of them are going to be trained to work best with cars, plants, or people. But make sure that you avoid, let's say, nude. Yeah, we don't want that on YouTube. But regardless, we've got quite a lot of the options that will be important for us. The most important is CFG scale, which is pretty much how through to our prompt should we be. So the higher the value, the more important the text is going to be for the AI. So this is something that you absolutely have to be aware of. Steps is pretty much the same as passes in Corona. So the more steps you give it, the more brain power it's going to use to create your image. And then we've got the reseed or auto reseed. This is actually very, very cool because you're going to be randomly generating stuff, and when you like something, you put a ring on it, and that's when you just turn off the auto seed to make sure that you're not going to be getting random images, but versions of what you are interested in. So Juggernaut Reborn, it's a model focused on the high quality imagery. So it's mostly built for realistic images, so it was trained on photos, and it's actually quite good. So if you know that Stable Diffusion, or a little bit about it, you're going to know that Stable Diffusion also use Comfy UI. Comfy UI is just an interface that makes Stable Diffusion a little bit easier for us lemans. Also, we've got styles, and we're getting there. Clear styles, so if we have no style, you're like me. But we're going to definitely love this feature. Okay, let's try something. So let's type in boat with sun. So this is very primitive, right? But imagine that your client comes into your office and you want to go through a couple of ideas really quickly. Or you want to just do it behind the scenes to see what works and what doesn't. So as I said, we're going to be using the current setting, and the very cool thing is that at the very end, once the step 20 is done, it is going to be pretty much the step that we're going to see. And now, the most important element for me at least is the history. By default, it's going to be saving somewhere on your drive, and I don't know where those files are created, somewhere in your cache probably, but this is absolutely amazing because you've got all of the images that you've generated in the history. So let's have fun, because that's what this tool is for. And quite frankly, I'll be honest with you, I haven't had a lot of success with projects in it because, well, it's a toy at the moment. It's a powerful, super cool tool if you have the patience. But I think that if you're going to be working for a client, it's rather not ready yet. But with the right amount of masking, with a little bit of Photoshop, and this is an older scene, right? Remove that from the scene. Final interior render setting. Well, yes, I'm going to show it to you in a second. Why your every model show red? Oh, you mean why do I show my models like this in the clay viewport? I just like it, that's all. It's just it's easier to see, but me most show many color show in molding. So while modeling PUBG, I like to be working with a consistent coloring and not get confused by some textures. You can get the default shading if you want to, but in my case, this is how I do it. It's just my preference. Hello, sir. Nice to see you. Hello, Sightful. Nice to see you, Sightful. Okay, so now, can't it requires any kind of computer specifications. What does it require? Because this is actually a very good question. So it doesn't require anything. I mean, it does require a GPU that's going to be able to run it. And one thing that I was about to talk about is the performance of your computer. So we're definitely going to be basing all of our creations on the GPU that you're using. And at the moment, I have got installed NVIDIA GeForce RTX 2070, a little bit older card, but it gets the job done. I never needed a card for my computer, but what's going to be really important for us is the dedicated GPU memory usage. That's going to be the key element for Stable Diffusion and how big and how complicated the operations can be using the Stable Diffusion. Because if you're going to run out of VRAM, thank you very much. Nothing else can be done. The system is not going to allow you to complete the process. So that's a huge problem at the moment, but I'm pretty sure that they will be fixing it, and the next generations of GPUs will be coming with beefy amount of RAM. Okay, let's actually Stable Diffusion Sound Fusion. And here we're going to see the generate thingies, right? So let's reset this to load default settings. So we're going to see exactly everything as we would be opening for the first time. So once we open it, we're going to see the basic settings, control net, and then there are LoRa's, animation options, upscaling, which is really cool and I like using it, in painting, which I haven't used yet, and MISC, but not today. Let's see what we're going to be able to do with this room. Fluffy red cut, and you can see that this is a super basic scene that a lot of you will be working for your clients. Let's change the view to a different one. Let's say this one. Okay, so you can see that, well, it's a child's room, right? So nothing fancy. Whenever you're going to be working with AI, you want your models to be simple, yet you don't want them to be too simple, because then you're not going to get enough detail, or it's just going to be taken as some kind of different object. But for example, adding huge chamfers to your furniture is a must when dealing with Stable Diffusion. Okay, so my current resolution of the image is set in common to the typical HD settings. So should we be using it? Yes and no. Because first of all, whenever you're going to be using your Stable Diffusion, you have to be aware. The bigger the image, the longer it's going to take to generate. And although it generates in seconds instead of minutes, it is still going to take a while to generate something bigger. And if you're going to generate something too big for your VRAM, you're not actually going to get a complete image. So what do we do now? Well, first of all, let's make sure that the size of our image is going to be slightly bigger. We generate something, a fluffy red cut. So I probably should have changed that prompt, but we're going to see what it does, because this is going to be the Stable Diffusion thingy going on. So first of all, your 3ds Max is by default going to be taking into account the settings that you allow it. So mode, text to image, image to image, we can do that. But source is going to be the most important, viewport color. But it all depends on what kind of sampler and the options you're going to be setting up, because if we're going to be changing our modes, we're going to explore a lot, and honestly there's a lot to explore here, but most important are the models. So if we are interested in something, I would say that epic realism is currently the most popular when it comes to architectural stuff, but I haven't tested all of them, so I cannot tell you if those are good or not. But definitely we're going to be able to do something with it. So let's first go to epic realism and just generate something. So by clicking on it, do we get any errors at the moment? So we do get errors. Okay, so let's see the usage of our VRAM. And if we're going to go for too big of an image, we're definitely going to get a bit of a false start, and it's not going to be even completed. So in this case, CD and console running error, matte shades can be multiplied. And yeah, so in this case, I'm running out of VRAM, so that's pretty much all I can do at this point. So it's pretty much not going to be that easy to use. So most importantly, remember, you're either going to be going lower on your resolution, or you're going to be running out of RAM. The biggest image I've managed to create was pretty much 1000 by something, and with 8 GB of RAM, that's cool, but fluffy red cat again. That was a mistake, but we're going to explore this a little bit further and see what exactly we have. So since I didn't change the seed, it's going to be almost identical, but it's not identical because the settings were slightly different. So first of all, let's auto reseed kids room, and this is going to be something easy. So modern, cute. Let's go bright, colorful. As I think this is going to be enough, and background 3s. Okay, let's not select the style yet. We're going to stick to what we've got, and we're going to generate the image. So what you're going to see is actually quite cool, because that's not road. I'm not sure what you mean. Oh, yep. I guess we're going to say autocorrect. Kids room, sorry. Let's regenerate that, because that was a kid's road, I guess. Now, the sampling is really fast, and I like this. So you can see that the backgrounds are kind of messy, but mostly because I've got something that confuses the AI. So we're going to hide all of the elements that would be confusing our AI. Also, you don't want any glass in your windows, because that further confuses the AI. If it decides that it should add something, it will. Also, just for your convenience, do not turn on the edged faces, because then you're going to get this kind of imagery. And again, it's not going to be necessarily the most beautiful. Please some explanation difference between scattering and surface scattering. When we use scattering, my render time is 100 time extended and many time a render not start. PUBG, that's going to be a totally different topic. If you want me to talk about scatters, you're going to have to wait a little bit about that. Also, I would need to see your scene to really be able to do that. And I think we can open up the uploads for the scenes and questions for the next review. So be on a lookout for the next review that we're going to be doing, because that's going to be something cool. Okay, so let's actually make something out of this. So you can see that the chair is really bad and a lot of elements are just out of place. So because we've got auto reseed, we're going to be focusing on that a lot. And we've got a couple of trees in the background, but it doesn't work at all. So we're going to definitely take that away, and we're going to focus on the background in a second. So I'm kind of hinting on what I like using the AI for, backgrounds, because it's really, really making a difference. And whenever we have some simple imagery, it's really going to make it look cool. At the moment, as I mentioned, the images that we create will be based on the viewport. So it's very important to know what exactly you're doing. So what we can see here is that we've wasted a lot of VRAM on what we don't even see, because our viewport is limited by the save frames. So all of that was generated for nothing, and we should be aware of it. So it would be a good idea to input the resolution by custom and input exactly the proportions you need. So if you want to, you can just go for 512 in here, and you're going to see that at this point we would be adding the height of only 288. So we wasted a lot of our potential VRAM. If I generate this image, we're still going to see that in history, it's going to appear without any kind of issues, but now it doesn't use the elements that we no longer need. So potentially it focuses more on what we wanted. So this is generally a good idea. I've seen a couple of tutorials out there that don't take this into account, and that's not a good idea, really. So this is something that you really, really want to pay attention to. So let's go for 1208 by 720. So now we're actually going to be speaking quality. So I think the room itself is okay. We don't see any problems here. It's not like we're going to reinvent the wheel here. It's just a child's room that we can render very quickly. We can see some of the details. What I don't like, it ignores almost all of the textures, and the prompt is going to take over whatever you're creating. So on one hand, it's very cool because it's going to potentially create something beautiful, but on the other hand, it's just going to do whatever it likes. You also have to have the full geometry, because it doesn't work with proxies. It doesn't work with any sort of, let's say, limiters, and it doesn't like those. So for example, if you've got invisible roof, make sure to display it as a normal object. At that point, you're not going to get into a position where you're going to see a problematic sky. But again, the sky, I love it. I think that the background is amazing. Some details make no sense in here, and honestly, I do think that this has huge potential. It's just that it's not yet there. It is going to be better and better, and compared to just rendering something, it's definitely going to be easier to do it this way. So let's generate this camera angle, and then we're going to move to from the basic settings to upscaling, because that's probably something that a lot of you will be interested in. Hi Mike, is so good to see you teaching us. You're a great tutor, keep it up. Thank you very much for that. It's amazing to have a little bit of that positive vibe in our chat. Unrelated question, have you used Chaos Vantage? Yes, and next week we're going to be talking about that, and due to the fact that right now Corona 12 has dropped, we're definitely going to be talking about it. So our AI is very confused. Whenever we try to do something, it is definitely going to have a lot of problems with a lot of details. What I would be definitely using it for is small changes to some elements, and you absolutely must take into account masking. So let's go for watercolor, and we're going to be able to quickly explore this. First of all, humans. Most of the time, whenever you create some kind of render, and this is an older scene, so I don't even remember how it's going to render or if the textures are missing. So let's do a white render in a second, because I think that one is going to be a bit safer. Yeah, definitely a white render is going to be needed here. Okay, so a regular white render with new settings. So I'm going to turn on, since we're on the topic of AI, I'm going to go for NVIDIA GPU denoising. And one thing that you really want to keep in mind is that whenever you're going to have those images, you want to allow them to render for a while, and the watercolor is going to be your huge friend. It's like the best friend of yours since now on and forever. Because when we see our render, you're going to definitely like what you've created because you had full control over it. You can try to apply some kind of extra style onto your image, but I'm going to show you the real application of this in a second. So first of all, we're going to stop the spread of weird stuff. Okay. Humans are amazing. I'm a human and I can vouch for that. So let's add some kind of person into our room. So this guy is in his child's room, right? So he's just looking around, and as you can see, it's all nice and fluffy. But if we render a guy like this, I'm always a little bit, let's say, disappointed with how everything looks like, because once we render a guy like this, although I don't want to be let's say rude, this guy is probably a very nice person and the model itself doesn't look that bad, but it lacks a lot of human touch. So what I mean is that this model doesn't have any subsurface scattering, and we're not going to be trying to get there. The reflections are totally off, and everything in it just lays flat. So let's copy this, take Photoshop, File, New, and now we're going to just get in here. So File, New, please, and we're going to just pull it here. Now, the next step is to go for our watercolor so we can see the guy. Perfect. And we're going to be placing this as well. And last but not least, we're going to be taking our AI generated thingy to see exactly what we can do about it. So here we can see that we've got an option to bake the results, which I haven't tested myself. So I'm a little bit, well, going in hot. So let's generate the image with the guy and everything else based on the prompt. Our white render is obviously not going to be as good as the colored version at first, but we're going to make it happen. So, hey Mike, it's so good. Okay, about Vantage, I used Corona 12. It has Vantage export support. However, it still is very initial stages. Hoping that you shed some light on the same. I need to explore this for a while. Okay, the guy got flipped. That's not what I expected. Let's just regenerate this real quick. Show your face, dude. Now, let's make sure that it generates because I want to see this guy's face. Now, it's doing something weird with it. Yeah, he's, again, maybe we need him a little bit closer to the camera because the AI doesn't like this guy for some reason. So let's try it again, but now let's re-render what we've created. So 1208, okay. Let's render this. So we're going to have to we're going to have to give this a bit of an update to make sure that it actually makes sense. So, okay, ignore everything, because why not? And we need to wait a couple of seconds. Compared to regular rendering, I must say that AI thingy is very exciting because it gives us so much freedom and potential to explore new grounds. But quite frankly, it's so unstable stable diffusion that I cannot say that I will be using it a lot for a while. I mean, it's good, but it's not good. It's not production ready. In some cases, it is, especially if you're going to be doing the abstract stuff or some kind of prototyping. I'll be honest, if I would be creating a new portfolio, I would be using the AI a lot. Why? Because it's just going to be easier for you to use the AI to fill your folder, your Instagram with images. As long as you're going to put a little bit of personal touch to it, I think it's actually going to be an amazing idea to do it that way. Because, well, we're now doing it. Maybe we rename it to unstable diffusion. I mean, it doesn't blow up, so we can stay with the stable name, but it's just that it's unpredictable diffusion at the moment. That's how I would be calling it. But there are elements. Okay, why do you flip this guy's face? Okay. Maybe AI is just not accepting this this model. I mean, this 3D model of a guy. Okay, let's look into history. Let's open this up, save this first, and we're going to go to our folder. So TyDiffusion. Let's go for image 001. We've got our first image generated by AI. It broke his neck. It's like, yeah, too many movies with Tommy Lee Jones. Okay, you know what? I'm not satisfied. I'm just not satisfied, and I don't want to move on like this because it feels half baked. So kids room, modern, colorful, man in the middle, facing the camera. I think you cannot be much more direct. Okay. Oh, by the way, we're going to do a small test with 10, 5, and 15 for our CG CFG. So we're going to see how exactly it's going to, how literally it's going to treat our images settings. Okay, so, okay. We're starting strong again. It's just that when I was testing this for the first time before I've gone live for you guys, oh my god. Okay. Thank you. It was all much better, like much better. Okay. The AI did this guy dirty, but let's talk about the elements that we actually like in it, okay? Because there are plenty of things we can. Okay, here, this one. We're going to use this image. So let's stretch this. You can see that the image itself is looking good. Okay. Mentioned prompt that includes man-facing camera. Yeah, I did. I kinda did, but we're going to go with that. So the thing is that we're going to be using a lot of the wireframe because wireframe is going to be the most efficient way of mixing in some stuff from the AI to our non-AI thingies. So first of all, you can see that this TP is looking amazing and I love it. So I'm just going to mask it out. Shift J, and now it looks good, right? On the top of our image, we're going to be able to blend it in by either multiplying it on top or just going for some kind of overlay. So soft light is going to just add so much detail to the elements. And this is exactly how I am using the AI at the moment. So if I have some kind of pillows or elements in my image, I'm just going to conveniently steal them because those fabrics, those elements that look good, will look even better with a little bit of soft light or some kind of extra mixing in, because that way we're going to get a little bit better result. When it comes to people, I was hoping that it's going to do a little bit better job, but unfortunately it did not. But it's not to say that it's totally useless. It's just that at the moment we have to figure out what we're going to be doing with what we've got. So for example, we can try the upside down nature of this guy is probably not helping our case, but if we're going to be mixing those on 50-60%, especially if it's going to be on pants, fabrics, shoes, and detail, it is really going to be amazing. Although the face really is messed up, it's not to say that this guy is ugly. Again, I'm not saying that. But there are some elements that we can steal from the image to make our main shot much better. Now, we're going to be also exploring one more thing, because kids room, child's, blah, 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 blah. Let's clear this up. But let's imagine, you know what, I just want to regenerate this because that face is going to haunt me and I don't want to look at it. So let's try it again. Excellent tool for horror films. Yes. Let's high hopes. This time it's going to do great. Okay. That's spooky. That is spooky. Okay. Okay. What the hell? Okay. Man. Handsome man. Okay, let's take away the colorful. Let's just make it very sad. And you know what? Maybe we need some style. Art, let's go to architectural. So the styles, there's so many things in this software that it's just hard to just pick what topic should we be talking about, because there's plenty of those. So first of all, the styles are super important. First, you pick the model. Model is the key element that we want to work with. So depending on your settings, you're going to be selecting the model that you found to be the most useful for your case. Juggernaut is really the setting that we, that is, let's say, set for high quality images that are realistic. But architectural guy is actually having a better face, but definitely too weird. So architectural, no. Photography, on the other hand, maybe it's going to be better. So glamour, long exposure, luxury, professional. Let's see how this guy is going to look like as a professional. So that might actually not flip his deck. So that's going to be a plus because I can see some faces. Put physical disorders in negative prompts. Wow. I don't think that this is going to really work, but I'm going to go for that. I'm going to copy that and physical disorders in negative prompt. That's rich. Okay. Handsome. Okay. As you can see, it's a handsome man. With a bonus chromosome, but still handsome. So now the clothing is actually looking good. The face, not so much. We can mix those two up. But what I really want to move on to is the way of handling this file, really. The Photoshop results, for example, when we do the same thing, are going to be horrendously bad. So this is actually amazing compared to it. What you're going to see is that the Juggernaut has a very bad, let's say, it's very bad with patterns. So it's going to have some kind of dots in it. A lot of times you're going to see typical AI generated garbage. But let's try the upscaling. So high resolution fix as the upscale and ultimate as the upscale. So this is going to be quite a thing for those of you that have stronger GPU. So high res fix, go for it if you do have a better computer. As the upscale, again, requires RAM, but Ultimate SD upscale is actually going to take the image that we generated with this handsome face of a guy, and if we allow it, we're going to just generate the same image but upscaled by a factor of 2. I don't want to over upscale it because it's going to take us too long, but this is a good way of saving a little bit of your VRAM. As you can see, we're stably using a stable diffusion. We're using a little bit of that RAM, but if I would go for just the double resolution, it would make this whole thing okay, why are you okay, now I'm a little bit worried, but model full pipe, okay, but why did it remake it? The ultimate upscale wasn't supposed to do that. Evaluating the, okay, but now painting, okay, but this doesn't make sense. Sorry guys, because what I was planning, okay, now we're running out of RAM, so the feature is not going to be fixed, but why are you not? Okay, Ultimate ASD upscale should be splitting this model into, I mean the image into multiple smaller elements, and that way we would be getting a huge boost because we would be saving a lot of VRAM, but unfortunately it didn't do that. And man, this is really weird because prompt highly detailed, fixed seams, and okay, let's generate it again. He's also barefoot now. Yeah, it's actually a habit. Wouldn't you go barefoot if you would have such a nice, luxurious carpet under your feet? I would. So he's just smarter than we are. So okay, but now we're running out of VRAM and we're just not into it. So let's stop it. Full pipe, no. Small sample pipe, model only, partial model. Okay, scale. Okay, but wait a second. This is weird. Okay, let's do the other upscaling. Regain to factor of 2, but okay, now I'm a little bit lost because when I was testing this before we started the webinar, I've created a couple of images using the Ultimate SD upscale, and high resolution fix was running out of RAM. The SD upscale was doing exactly the same thing, but Ultimate SD upscale wasn't doing it. And maybe I've started with a too big image to very well. Maybe the image that I've generated as first was just too big for my computer to handle. But I doubt that this is the case. So I must be doing something else wrong. But definitely the well, that's what the RAM usage suggests. So we're going to do it the other way. So let's go for smaller resolution. So custom, we're going to go for half of this resolution, which is already a really, really weird thing to be forced to do. Okay, so okay, let's go. 360. Text to image, sampler, okay, let's go. And now control net, we don't need this. Okay, so viewport depth, let's keep that. So this is the control net part of your scene is going to check for elements in your scene, and right now the source of our image is the viewport depth, and that pretty much means that it interprets the Z value, H value, Y value, and X value between the elements. So nothing really fancy. We've got edges, pose, okay, custom, Laura's animation upscale. So now we're going to be upscaling a smaller image. Let's generate it first. Hello, handsome. So are we generating something or nope, we're just stuck. So you know what? I'm going to do this. We're going to close this. Would you please close? Okay. Thank you. Shift X. Okay. Now we're going to restart our TyDiffusion, and we're going to generate the image again by restarting our TyDiffusion, because I'm pretty sure that the reason why it didn't work, it was just the RAM was clogged and it didn't want to allow anything in. So let's restart shuffle. Okay. We've got our small image with Joker in it. Perfect. That's exactly what I wanted to see. And now we're going to be doing the scaling, right? So let's go back, automate upscaling, full pipe, highly detailed, and let's go for generate image. Now we should be splitting it into seams, but we're not. You know what? I'm lost. I lost this battle. Evaluating V code. Okay, but why? Task manager. Okay, you know what? I'll be honest. This is not looking good. I thought that it's going to be more fun, but it's definitely not. At the moment, for some reason, I'm really not running out of RAM all the time, and it's just no fun. But let's see. View. Did we generate this? My God, this potato face is amazing. We've made Harry Potter. I mean the Voldemort thingy. Okay. We're going to revert, clear all, setup. Let's make sure to load the default settings. Okay, default values, display generate. We're also going to go for default settings. Yeah, let's take this back a notch, and we're going to base our images on some smaller resolution for a second. And a fluffy red cat, no. A kid's room. Okay, this should be easy. And this, let's remove the villain because it's definitely not looking good. TyDiffusion. By the way, guys, what do you think about TyDiffusion so far? Because honestly, I've got mixed feelings. But I'm going to... Okay, could you not? Okay, so for the third time, we're restarting everything, and now it should generate something again. But now we're going to do a bit of a funny thing because we're going to be just seeing the prompts come to life, and I'm going to be choosing different styles. So that's going to be a little bit easier. Yeah. So we've got this room. You know that we can use this to select and create some elements, but I'm going to show you another thing that I think you're going to like a little bit. Hey Michelle, I see that your opinion is quite similar to mine. So the first thing you want to do is remember that you can go for the 2D pan zoom mode. So if there's some kind of element in your scene that you really like and you want to enhance it a little bit, you can try zooming in 2D pan zoom mode, and we're now going to be generating based on what the camera sees at the moment. So it is going to add more resolution to this object that we're really interested in. So again, we're going to be able to use it in our scene. So for all of the details that we initially wanted to add, this is going to be actually good. So enhancing your sofas, armchairs, curtains, backgrounds, this is actually going to be good for that. But the limitations are going to be your VRAM and some very confusing settings. So if we're looking at this particular part of our image, let's make sure that we're going to be working with box in this case. So let's go for custom. Let's go for something around 800 by 800. So I need to unlock this. Okay, so that's going to be enough pixels for us to see something, and it's not going to take ages to create. And now I want to do this in X floating viewport. So let's make sure that the floating viewport, we're going to select this, go to display, deactivate the current one, and we're going to be activating our TyFlow for this particular viewport. And that's going to be a little bit easier because now I'm going to be able to see everything, move it around, and we're going to have both of our elements visible on the screen. And I think it's just going to help us explore the options. So generate the image. This is going to be our photorealistic image of a kid's room. I think this cannot go wrong, so we don't need to add the negative prompts, but it's doing quite a good job at the moment. So we're actually getting somewhere with it. This would be good to show it to your clients. If we like it, we can just well, if we don't like it, we can change the auto reseed and just regenerate it, and we're going to get something totally different. If we're going to keep the seed the way it is, we're going to kind of keep the style and what we've got, but we're going to have slight differences. Now, I want to go to the styles actually, because that's the element that I wanted to show you the most. The 3D model is going to generate images that look nice, and I think that this particular style was let's say thought on the stuff that comes out of 3D software. That is why it's going to yield really amazing results. So that's one of my favorite styles, and it's pretty much the first one you're going to encounter. And since we're dealing with 3ds Max and in 3D world, I love it because the backgrounds are amazing in it. The detail is working really well. But the next one that I like really is the architectural. Architectural is going to give us everything in a little bit different manner, because we're going to see a lot of white, a lot of abstraction, but still it's going to give us a very clean look at the objects. Imagine you're looking at ArcDaily or some kind of magazines for architects. This is going to be the style it's trying to mimic. And again, I kind of dig it. I love this style. It would be enough to satisfy my needs before I continue rendering. Next is the photography, art, isometric, okay, materials, clay. That's also cool because I like clay. This is just for the fun of it. We're going to see how it works. From the last time when I saw the clay, how it works, it actually looks like clay. It's just like made out of Play-Doh elements, and that's it. So nothing fancy, but it kind of looks good. So it's going to yield, again, results that, well, could be better. But photography, and now we've got the luxurious. So that's going to be something good for all of you that work with Dubai stuff and glamour interiors. So photography is really going to be the thing to go for, because luxurious is going to kind of fake the chandeliers, but it really makes the interior actually come to life in many cases. So the luxury style, for some reason, it works really well. It makes the stuff realistic, it adds good wood, and a lot of materials are just looking nice, and I like this. So definitely something to explore and something to like in this case. So again, it's really going to look great. Vibe, this is really cool. You want to avoid the cute because it generates a lot of nudity, so avoid it. Cyberpunk, you know what that means. A sci-fi, a steampunk, vaporwave, Renaissance, neopunk, monochrome, minimalist. That's another very cool thing. Hello, Ahmad, nice to have you. So minimalist is another style that I think everybody's going to enjoy because it's simple. It just makes your images look like a feng shui designed interiors. So exploring this is actually a lot of fun for me, because compared to the architectural, it introduces a couple of elements into the shot that make them look more realistic. So epi-realism. So let's change this. Depth 1. Okay, so in control net. So what do we need to do to avoid using this depth 1? We would like to download something extra if we can. So let's disable it. Are we able to do it now? If we disable the depth net, or are we just not? Okay, it works now. So, but then again, it totally ignores what we had in mind. I mean, This is going to be something that you're going to run into a lot with this AI. It's going to, at first, totally ignore your prompt or your image overall, because the depth is, at this moment, I think it's just not going to take into account anything in the 3ds Max scene, because the control net is not even added. So it's basically going to do nothing really close to our shot. But a lot of times when you're going to be dealing with Juggernaut, you're going to see that the Juggernaut is at sometimes, in some occasions, is going to randomly just ignore the scene because it just didn't want to be involved with it. Prompt executed, okay, but now let's auto reseed, generate it, please. That's it? No. So yeah, just decided to ignore the prompt, I mean the scene, because we don't have the control net. So for us, it's not going to be even worth spending our time. Basic minimalist, let's change the style art. This is going to be cool, line art, and that's pretty much the funniest element of all. Have you ever thought about starting a small Etsy business? Okay, why? Now, Matt and Matt 2, where are those? Yeah. I'm a little bit disappointed. Now, I must say this, I'm a little bit disappointed. I didn't think that it's going to go like that. Let's go for manga. Let's take the Juggernaut, and you know what? Let's go back to the, where was it? Art, line art, and that's going to probably work now. Are we going to learn how to use AI in the course? And so I'm going to be definitely trying to sprinkle it into our workflow at some level. But I'll be honest, Ahmad, I don't think that AI is currently production ready. It's good to have this at hand because, as you can see, we're prototyping this room, going through ideas, colors, and whatnot. But would you be able to send it to your client? I don't think so, because honestly, this is just a bunch of random objects that resemble chairs, resemble furniture, resemble some elements, but honestly, it's just gibberish. It's not usable. It can enhance a couple of objects, as I've shown you, but I don't think it's worth it at the moment. It's definitely groundbreaking because definitely and 100% this is the way our rendering, our industry, our work is going. This is exactly where and how we're going to be working with 3D in the future. But at the moment, I think we're jumping the gun to assume that we can already be there or that we are already there, because honestly, we're not. We're just not yet there. TyFlow, TyDiffusion, I would say great way to end a webinar, because this is exactly what I think. Is it stable? Yes, it is. Did it crash my 3ds Max just now? Yes. So again, I would say that stable diffusion in 3ds Max is a really cool gimmick. It's amazing, and I'm going to make another webinar on it, because I think that my general knowledge of this topic is a little bit surface level. I need to dive deeper into it because I know that this is a valid tool to explore, but am I going to be able to use it in any project as it is right now? No chance, not at all. Is it good to impress your friends, to create something for portfolio purposes? Yes, and I really want you to understand that this kind of image, this kind of software is really only getting making its first steps into the industry. It's going to get better and better over time. It's going to be more responsive. It's going to be less RAM hungry, and probably they will be figuring out better ways of utilizing lower end computers to use to utilize this kind of software. But at the moment, it's not yet there. It's not looking that good, and honestly, it's impossible to predict what you're going to get. Again, if you want to create a cool video on cool stuff, on cool elements that kind of make no sense, you can do that. But if we go to TyFlow diffusion, there's not a lot of consistent objects that we can create. All of that is not something that you would be able to sell to anybody else than a club for visualizations. This is not something you're going to be sending to a client. This is impressive, but it's random. It's not something that you can predict. This is not something that you can rely on. But again, is it beautiful? Sometimes it is. Is it helpful? Maybe. It's definitely going to be good to use with the humans. And I'm now, to be perfectly honest, if we're going to be seeing a human like this and we open up 3ds Max, we do the 2D pan zoom mode on his face, it's going to be regenerated into something beautiful. And that's a fact. I've made a couple of experiments beforehand, and I quite frankly don't have a lot of it, but if you really try, you're going to get good results. For some reason, I didn't get those results this time, but it is possible to really enhance those humans. It's the same guy, it's just the prompt that was ignored, but you can see that if we're going to give enough space and pixels for this AI to work with, and we do it in a smart way, you're going to get amazing results. And comparing this to our regular render, that wins. But again, the rest, the furniture, the size, the colors, everything needs to be re-rendered. In a sense that you're going to spend hours in Photoshop correcting the elements. But again, a lot of times, this is not something that you're going to be very concerned about, because you just want good looking people in your shot with a little bit of extra filtering on them. And that's exactly what you can do with Stable Diffusion in here. So to sum it up, because we're ending our webinars right now, is that the TyDiffusion production ready? Not in my opinion. Is it good to use for your projects? Yes, to enhance elements. Are you going to benefit from using it? Not yet, because you can get better results with the skills that you currently possess if you're already working with 3ds Max and all the rest of the suite. But again, this is not to be ignored, because there is a very nice quote by Tor. If you're not going to adapt to the circumstances, you're going to be a victim of the circumstances, or something like that. But I misquoted for sure. But the thing is that you have to adapt, you have to learn, you have to know what is new in order to stay fresh. And that's it. So is it going to be in any way taking your jobs? No, not yet. Give it 5 years. Yes, maybe we're going to be no, I take this back. Your position is going to evolve into something bigger and better, but you're still going to be needed. You're still going to be absolutely irreplaceable, because human touch is something that we really desire, and nobody comes to AI generated designers. There's just no way that somebody's going to do that, because they want somebody to be responsible, to be responsive, and to actually have some soul in their houses. So at the moment, AI is great, but it's just not ready, not production ready. It is going to be better. So good explanation. Thank you, Mike. Can't wait for the first conference next week. Ahmad, I hope that you did receive the email, because I was invited to something called Chaos Days, and this is one I think that this is a lifetime opportunity to visit Chaos headquarters in Bulgaria. And since I was invited to their official event, I'm going to be getting some insider knowledge on the upcoming industry trends. So I think that everybody who attends our training will really benefit out of it, because I'm going to give you everything I've got. If I'm going to get a t-shirt with Chaos logo, you guys are getting it. So I cannot wait to meet you, Ahmed. It's going to be fun. Guys, this is it for today. Really thank you for joining this webinar. I know that it was all over the place, but I think that the software just refused to work for me, and that really sums it up. If you like this type of content, make sure to leave a like, make sure to leave a comment after our webinar is concluded, because that way we're going to reach broader audience and it helps us make those lessons. Also, if you're going to leave comments with suggestions for the next topics, we're going to be able to hear your opinions, and that's always welcome. So this is it for today. Thank you very much for your attention, and good luck and have fun with TyFlow, because actually it's a lot of fun to work with. Net production ready, a lot of fun, a lot of fun. Bye bye, guys.